Hey, you feeling spooky? Fellas, I am very unfazed by Halloween this year. It's my favorite holiday, and October's supposed to be like the spooky month. Everything is supposed to be all jack-o'-lanterns and skeletons coming out the cracks of my walls, threatening to eat my ass. But instead, all I'm afraid of this year are gas prices and the housing market of Western Canada. Jesus, that is scary. But before I was an adult with these awesome real-world crippling fears and anxieties, I used to be a smelly 13-year-old boy spending the night at one of my friends' houses. And I was feeling extra fucking scared because I just found a microcosm of the internet where a bunch of people were making these really scary campfire stories. And those stories made me feel something as a 13-year-old boy, which is a very hard thing to do. And that feeling was being a little extra freaked out to sleep at night. Allow me to take you back in time to the year 2001. I am a 1-year-old and the world is about to experience a shaking world event. That's right, Super Smash Bros. Melee comes out this year, boys. Nothing else remotely generation-defying happened that year. Now, at this point in time, the internet is still in its relative baby mode phase. Like, it's probably a toddler, but it's still like pooping and farting everywhere it's going. But that's not the point. What is the point is that on this weird, wacky web, there's this guy, and his name is Ted. So Ted opens up an Angel Fire, and what Angel Fire is, it's kind of like a MySpace page or like a Tumblr page. I don't know, man. I'm 1 year old. I don't know how to make an Angel Fire. Anyway, so Ted opens up this Angel Fire Tumblr-ass blog thing where he starts detailing his adventures exploring caves. Because Ted over here, he's a bit of a splunker, if you know what I mean. And so is his friend B, as in, things be crazy in the caves that they're exploring because they start to experience some whack shit. So Ted and B, and then later his friend Joe, they all start experiencing these crazy things inside this cave. They start hearing these shrill, echoing screams throughout the cave, and there are these weird hieroglyphs etched into the walls. And then Ted and Joe start to experience more hallucinations and they start feeling sick until one day they're like, all right, we've had enough. We're going back to that cave and we're gonna figure out what the hell is going on. So they all agree to visit the cave one last time and promise to immediately update us the moment they got back. Yeah, so you're a bit late on that one, sport. Ted the Caver is a really interesting little nugget of internet history because it's what most consider to be the world's first creepypasta because, spoiler alert, this shit fiction as fuck. So creepypastas, much like everything else that the internet likes to drive into the ground, originated on the Ohio of the internet, 4chan. More specifically on the paranormal board, where people would write these short stories in hopes of them getting spread around the website and getting reposted over and over again. A lot of early creepypastas relied heavily on being somewhat believable and grounded in reality, because the more real it felt, the more likely it was to be reposted and then spread like wildfire, which is why Ted the Caver worked so well. Because even though there was a bunch of this weird shit going on inside the cave, it was still kind of grounded in reality, which made it really scary for early internet folk. And as more and more of these creepypastas kind of popped up, people were starting to take notice of them, and they just kind of exploded on YouTube. There was just a time where creepypastas were unavoidable. You had creepypasta readings, a whole dedicated wiki to every single creepypasta that could ever exist. You got fan games that completely pop off and kind of blow up certain people's channels a little bit. Maybe you've heard of some of them. A lot of the more noteworthy creepypastas kind of centered around a sort of creature or like an entity that the whole story was based around. So I'm talking people like Jeff the Killer, Slender Man, the Rake, Ben Drowned, Laughing Jack. Now, what all of these characters have in common is that a really concerning amount of people wanted to fuck them. But dude, I was in it, dude. I loved creepypastas. I didn't want to fuck them, but I was close. Just because I found these campfire stories so entertaining and interesting. And like, dude, I love spooky, creepy shit. I'm a fucking baby shit. I can't play a lot of horror games that I'm very interested in or watch a lot of horror movies that I am also interested in. But creepypastas were just the right level of spooky and creepy and like that little level of like plausible deniability. Like, mate, this could have happened. that it kind of opened my world to that sort of stuff, and now I love that shit. But eventually, as all internet trends do, creepypastas began their inevitable descent into obscurity as the internet became super oversaturated with it. And then the critically acclaimed Slender Man movie came out. It completely revived the genre, and now creepypastas are the new world order. Nah, I'm just playing. This movie was dog shit, and it single-handedly killed the genre completely. Or did it? Alright, so I don't think the creepypastas are dead necessarily. If you still look them up on YouTube, there's still a bunch of channels that are doing creepypasta readings that don't get nearly the amount of views that they used to. But what I actually think happened is that the old medium for creepypastas, which is like the wall of text internet campfire story, is just way past its prime. No one's gonna read a wall of text anymore unless it's a twitlonger involved in Twitch drama. Which is sad, there's still a lot of creepypastas that are very, very good. Creepypastas needed to evolve and change, and if we go back to the days of Slender Man, we can actually kind of see what creepypastas would one day become. I'm talking shit like Marble Hornets, Everyman Hybrid, Tribe 12, and look, if you don't know any of these things, it probably sounded like I just spoke a bunch of wingdings to you, but if you know that shit's fire. All of these were like these mysterious, freaky internet ARGs that really played around with social media and just YouTube series in general to tell a kind of cryptic narrative. And sometimes they would take it like even further. Like, dude, some of the shit that Everyman Hybrid did near the end was fucking crazy. Like, I big recommend checking out Everyman Hybrid. I'm gonna leave like a couple links in the description to like some of the Nightmind videos on him. If you don't know Nightmind, he's a great YouTuber. And watch those. Those are really interesting. It's some of the coolest shit I've ever seen an internet series do, and it was so ahead of its time. It's just, it rules! And nowadays we have stuff like Local 58 or the Willamette Dream Survey, where they're very cool, like, internet urban legends and alternate realities that can be fully interactive or as cryptic as they want to be. And the feeling that they give me whenever I look into these things, it reminds me so much of the feelings that I got watching some ordinary gamers talk about some bullshit gamer creepypasta back in the day. And I'm sure that much like creepypastas, these horror ARG sort of deal that we have right now, it's not gonna last forever. The medium is gonna continue to evolve and change in ways that I can't even imagine, and I'm very excited to see whatever comes next out of it. I want to see some real life Psycho Mantis type shit, alright? But however creepypastas or internet horror stories continue to evolve, it's always gonna have an audience that's just completely passionate about it. That audience is me. And you, presumably, you clicked on the video, so I would assume that you're also kind of into this stuff. Anyway, so that's the video. Fun fact, I've been wanting to make this video on creepypastas for like 3 years, but I've never been able to do it until this year, where I said fuck it and am completely running with it, and I'm not gonna let another year pass without making this video. Sorry that videos were basically absent this year. It's been a bitch of a year with a whole lot of difficulties and, you know, stuff. I'm not gonna promise a return to form with my video frequency or anything, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna hope that it won't be too long before you see me again. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. If you didn't like this video, subscribe. If you want to comment what your favorite creepypasta is, mine is No End House, then you can do that in the comment section. I'll read them and tell you if I like them or not. Alright boys, may the force be with you. Happy Halloween. Bye.